Okay, so in the first knockout match of this World Cup, the Netherlands were playing the USA. It really was a tale of two halves. Even though the Dutch scored two of their three goals before half time, and they're both carbon copies. You could not tell them apart from the players scoring. The US, good in patches, bad in others. The second half is completely different. Very open game. It was a very even game in the second half, which the second half was 1-1. So on the day, the Netherlands have won 3-1. But the first half was very interesting. The Dutch came out the blocks like a 100-metre sprinter. Pulisic had a shot on goal literally in the first 2 minutes. But what then happened was the US had a lot of possession. And the US are best on the counter-attack like a lot of sides are. And this mirrors what England do a lot. England are very, very good when it's fast-paced, quick counter-attack possession. And the US are very, very similar. Long spells of sustained possession, they're not so comfortable. And the Dutch clearly knew this, sat off them, and the Americans look a little bit confused, a bit lost. The pace of the game drops out. The Dutch, this is a deliberate ploy by Holland in the first half, and then they counter-attack quickly. And the Memphis Depay goal is brilliant. It's their first real attack on goal, and it comes down the Dutch right. And Dumfries, he creates two and scores one in this game, and both the goals he creates are cutbacks into the box for that runner coming from midfield. So for the first goal, it's Memphis Depay on 10 minutes. The second goal is from Daley Blind, literally on the stroke of half-time on 45 minutes. In the intervening 35 minutes, the US had a lot of the ball. The Dutch were happy for them to have a lot of the ball. The only time the Americans looked good is when they passed it at pace on the counter-attack. They did not look comfortable in lengthy spells of possession. They look slow, methodical and plodding, and the two centre-backs are not the quickest, which is why the Memphis Depay goal was scored and why Daley Blind's goal is scored, is because the centre-backs are not the quickest. They're good positionally, but if taken on one-on-one, or a ball over the top, or a ball out wide, they are slower than their wing-backs that push very high up. And that is a problem. Yes, the Americans are very tenacious in midfield, and they do employ a very high-energy, high press, but that does leave these two centre-backs heavily exposed. So it's 2-0 at half-time, and the Dutch tactics are working perfectly. You could not ask for a better defensively tactical style of play with hitting on the counter-attack in short bursts. The Dutch were very, very happy to basically play boring, conservative football, because it suited their needs. They allowed the Americans to overplay and make the mistake. They didn't actually have to do too much. The second half is completely different, and the Dutch do start to drop deeper and deeper, but the Americans change a few little things. When they're in possession now, they're not doing a slow build up from the back. They're doing it with pace. They make some tactical changes. They inject pace into the game, and they get their goal. And there is a period of about 25 minutes where the Americans are wobbling. There's also a period where Matt Turner, the American goalkeeper who plays for Arsenal, is their second choice keeper at Arsenal, pulls off a fantastic double save in a 3-save spell in about a minute. And that double save, I think, has kept the scoreline down. If it's not for Matt Turner in the American goal, this second half could have blown out horribly, and I think a bit unfairly. But at the same time, on the Dutch end of things, they're defending a bit sloppily, and they do look vulnerable. They do look vulnerable defensively, which I think other teams, should the Dutch progress further and further in the tournament, look to exploit. This Dutch side does not look necessarily that competent at the back. They got challenged in the second half. The second half is a very end-to-end open game, which suits, guess what, both sides. Both sides like the counter-attack. And the two goals that are scored come off counter-attack play. Wright comes on as a substitute. He's a big, tall, rangy forward. He plays in the Turkish league. That finish, did he mean it, or is it accidental? Either way, it's a very cheeky finish, because I think he does mean it. He just does a little flick as he's going to the near post, and it balloons over the goalkeeper and the defender in the back of the net. I think he means that. If he's fluked that, that is one of the most entertaining flukes and craziest flukes you will see. But that comes from the Americans upping their pace of possession. When they're in possession, they move the ball quicker. But then it made for a very entertaining 10-minute spell when they score, and then Dumfries, he scores his goal in 81 minutes. He, for me, has been the best player on the pitch. He's created 2 goals and scored 1. The cross from Daley Blind, is pinpoint, and Denzel Dumfries is unmarked and he ghosts in on the far post. That is again poor defence, but the game has become stretched, and it was a very entertaining game as a neutral. There are some green shoots for America for the next World Cup, which they co-host in 3.5 years' time in 2026. There are some signs of growth, and this game should be used as a learning experience tactically for the Americans. These young players that they have, this is the youngest lineup in the knockout stages. They're the youngest average squad age to make it to the knockout stages. They do have a lot of young players in this side. They will learn a lot from this tactically. What they've got to get better is when they're in lengthy spells of possession against a very defensively minded formation to move the ball quicker and make runs and not be so static and passive. When they move the ball quickly and with energy, and there was more movement off the ball, they look better. Lengthy spells of slow-paced possession, they don't look as confident and as settled. The Dutch, there was a spell in the second half where they were wobbling. On the counter-attack, they do look dangerous. They have got pace. The 3 goals are almost all carbon copies, really. Crosses from wide, run in from deep. The third goal is slightly different because he goes in off the wing, but it's still move the ball at pace, get it out wide, get it in the box quick, and a runner coming in at an angle or on a line from slightly deeper scores the goals. And they look more threatening down their right than their left. So that's something that defences need to be aware of. But they don't actually have an out-and-out centre forward that looks really a target man. There's a lot of wing play and attacking midfield play, but the Dutch don't have an out-and-out centre forward, so they could be shut down. But that second half was breathtaking. The first half was a bit of a grind for lengthy spells, and that's partly down to how the Americans approached the game and the Dutch defending. The Dutch did a tactical masterclass. The Americans showed a little bit of inexperience in how to counter that, but it was a fantastic game, and of course the knockout stages have begun. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.